Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of RiesKitchen. Today we're making that true family favourite, zucchini slice. We've only got a few ingredients, so let's get right in, shall we? To start with, we have some eggs, onion, zucchini or courgette, tasty cheese, bacon, self-raising flour. If using gluten-free, add a little extra baking powder, some black pepper and some olive oil. The tin we're going to use today is really quite important. So we can use either a sliced tin, or as in my case, a Lamington tin, a sliced tin just being a little squarer. And it's important because of the height of the sides, which in this case is about 1 inch or 2.5, 3 centimetres high. If you were to use a baking dish, the height of the sides prevents the top going nice and brown like you would like it to. So with our tin, we're going to just put a little bit of spray on the bottom and then put our baking paper. And the reason that you do that is the spray actually helps stop the baking paper slide. Now when you cut your baking paper, we do want it to be long enough so that once I push it in, I end up with handles at the end. And that'll just make getting it out of the tin so much easier. So in preparing all of our ingredients, we want them really fine so that they become evenly dispersed around the slice. You don't want a mouthful that's just onion or just bacon. You want everything together. So I'm just going to prep our onion. And just very finely slice it. So now let's talk about our star ingredient, that being the zucchini, or if you live in the UK, the courgette. Zucchinis are now, at the end of summer, absolutely plentiful and at their best. The beauty of this recipe is that you can use nice young ones like I have picked here fresh out of the garden, or that one that's hidden under a leaf that turns into a monster. This recipe is very forgiving for using up some of those larger, harder, firmer ones. We need about 375 grams, so I'm actually only going to use 1.5 of these today. So just chop off the ends, and I'm going to use the bottom half of that one. I'm going to grate them, and I want them fairly fine so that they match the same size as I have here of our bacon. So to grate, I'm just going to use the coarse grater on my food processor, but of course if you don't have a food processor with a grating action, you can certainly just use your box grater and use the big one, like you would for the tasty cheese. But this will make life a bit faster. Alright, so let's make some noise. So you can see that we've got our lovely zucchini coarsely grated, but using the machine, of course, a few bits came through, so I'm just going to finely chop those. So I've put my oven onto 160 Celsius to preheat, fan forced of course, and now it's time to put all of this together. So I'm just going to pop my eggs with the pepper. And give them a good whisk. And then we just get to add everything else through. So let's start with our zucchini. And grated cheese. Bacon. Mixing well between each one just makes it a little bit easier. And I'm going to add my oil so that it's really moist before I add the flour in, otherwise it'll tend to clump. And now for the flour. And a little bit of baking powder because I'm using gluten-free. No one will know. So our last step is to pop it into our tray. Pushing it into the corners. Leveling it out a bit. So now I'm going to pop this into the middle of our oven, and I'm going to cook it for about 30-35 minutes until it's a lovely golden brown on top. The waft of cooking bacon through the whole house is just amazing at the minute. So let's see how our slice is going. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, as always, the hard bit is in the waiting, and we need to let this sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes before we lift it out onto a board to cut. But look at that, and doesn't that just smell delicious? For all the details of today's recipe, including a couple of lovely variations, don't forget to check out my blog at the link below. But as always, the best bit is in the eating. The zucchini's the hero of this dish, but the bacon and the cheese just help really lift it. It is so light, just delicious. In fact, perfect. Until next time, everybody, ciao.